Hello everyone. We have spent a considerable amount of time on the analysis of circuits with sinusoidal sources. So what we have seen that suppose that I have some network of resistor, capacitor or inductor. So we are telling that network as a linear circuit or network, you can tell. So network, and after that we have applied some kind of sinusoidal sources, and after that we have noted down the response, and after that we found that response is also sinusoids. Now in this lecture I am going to consider the analysis of the same network, means my network is again linear with periodic, and I am assuming now that periodic signal is now non-sinusoidal in nature. So we have already done for the sinusoidal one. Due to that reason, now I am considering the non-sinusoidal. So basically I have now same linear network. So this is linear and network, and now this is non-sinusoidal sources I am going to apply, and after that I am going to see the response, and here I am going to assume that whatever non-sinusoidal source, that is again periodic, because we have already seen that whatever excitation I am going to apply to the linear network, that is sinusoidal, and sinusoidal is periodic. Due to that reason I am going to maintain the periodicity, but now I am allowing more generalized version of the excitation. So in the previous class, what we have observed that if I have some kind of periodic function, then I can apply the Laplace transform, even if in case of non-periodic function also one can do. And after that, since circuit is linear, then we will convert time domain into frequency domain and finally convert back to the time domain. But most of time we are concerned with the steady state response of the circuit. So due to that reason, we have one of the most important transformation. We have expend a lot of time on that is called phasor based analysis, and that analysis is concerned with the steady state. So using that analysis, now I am trying to analyze the circuit which contain the non-sinusoidal periodic excitation or periodic sources. So one thing become very much clear, that in order to apply the phasor analysis, I have to somehow express the signal in the form of sinusoid. So I have to find certain kind of transformation which convert this non-sinusoidal periodic signal into some kind of sinusoid. So now our motivation is like this. Since I am going to use phasor, so remark is like this. In order to apply phasor analysis, I have to do following job. Suppose that if I have some non sinusoidal signal, now you can tell, and I have to apply some kind of transformation such that it can be expressed as a sinusoids, in form of sinusoids, and after that I can apply phasor analysis to obtain the overall, or in order to apply the, I am concerning with the steady state response. So now it is possible to show that this transformation is nothing but some kind of series representation in form of sinusoids of any non-sinusoidal and here periodic signal. So this signal is periodic, and the name of this particular transformation or particular series you can tell, that is called Fourier series. So this is nothing but, now this is Fourier series, and so, and if you see the Fourier series, so job of Fourier series is like this. You can take any practical periodic function, and if you apply the Fourier series, so finally I will get a series where each terms of series is represented as a sum of sinusoids. And after doing this, we also know that if I have certain kind of linear system or linear network, so since this is represented as a sum of series, so if I will apply more than one signal here, then we are, whatever response we are getting, that is the summation of this. So here I have more than one input, because now input periodic non-sinusoidal function can be represented as a sum of sinusoids. So I have several input, and corresponding to each input I have, suppose, certain output. So in input side, if I will take weighted sum of something, then I am getting some kind of weighted sum of the output, because linear network or linear system will satisfy the property of superposition. So I will take help of superposition to generate the final response of the linear network, and again I am going to maintain the same analysis, that is phasor analysis. So what is beauty? Beauty is that now I am not going to relook again Kirchhoff's law, again superposition theorem, Thevenin's theorem, Norton's theorem. All things we have already analyzed during the phasor analysis, or power, or concept of instantaneous or average power. Each and everything is applicable for this non-sinusoidal periodic signal. So now let us come to the definition part of this Fourier series. So till now we have understood the motivation. So again I am going to repeat that since I have some interconnection of RLC, so that represent a linear system, and obviously linear system will satisfy the superposition principle. So I am going to take advantage of that, and whenever I have non-sinusoidal periodic signal, then first I will express it into terms of sinusoid, and after that I will calculate the steady state response of the system by converting it into time domain into frequency domain with help of the phasor. That is the main motivation of the today's lecture. And in order to represent non-sinusoidal periodic signal into some kind of sum of the sinusoidal signal, I am going to use the concept of Fourier series. So now I am going to begin with the one class of Fourier series, that is also called trigonometric Fourier series. So let us discuss about this part of series, that is called trigonometric Fourier series. So in order to apply the Fourier series, we have already seen that signal should be periodic. So, and mathematically we know that meaning of periodicity is like this. If I have some signal ft, then I can also represent this as a ft plus nt, where n is an integer and t is the period of the function, and this signal is nothing but some kind of periodic function, because this is the first assumption that whatever non-sinusoidal signal, that should be periodic. So now let us come to the theorem that is called Fourier theorem. So now let us talk about the Fourier theorem. So according to the Fourier theorem, any practical periodic function of angular frequency omega 0 can be expressed as an infinite sum of sine or cosine, that I am telling that as a sinusoid, function that are integral multiplies of omega 0. So mathematically what we are telling that, suppose that I have some function ft and this is periodic, then I can express this like this: a0 a1 cos omega 0 t plus b1 sin omega 0 t plus a2 cos 2 omega 0 t plus b2 sin 2 omega 0 t. And similarly I can do this process up to infinity. So I will write third term also in order to understand the concept, or in order to understand the more generalization. And similarly I have infinite many term here. So now I can also able to express same kind of things like this in terms of the series form. So I have a0 and after that I have summation n equal to 1 to infinity an cos n omega 0 t plus bn sin n omega 0 t. So this is the series form representation of the above function, and from here you can see that this part a0 we are interpreting this constant part as a dc, and remaining part that contain the sinusoids, and I am telling AC based on our definition of DC and AC. I am telling that any periodic function can be expressed in terms of DC plus AC. And now you can also see that where I have first term, that is omega 0. So omega 0 is nothing but 2 pi by t, where t is the periodicity of the periodic function f, is called the fundamental angular frequency, and unit of this is radians per second. And after that, this is called fundamental angular frequency. Similarly, we are defining the harmonic angular frequency. So remark is like this. The harmonic angular frequency, because here I have first frequency, that is omega 0. After that you have seen that we have 2 omega 0, 3 omega 0. So due to that reason, I am telling that the harmonic angular frequency, I am coining one new name, that is omega n is integer multiple of the fundamental angular frequency of the fundamental angular frequency omega 0. So mathematically I can also denote like this, that I have omega n, that is nothing but n omega 0, where n is integer. So we are also denoting like this, n belongs to n, this n is nothing but integer, 1 2 3 4. After that, we are also defining like in this way also the sinusoid sin omega 0 t sin n omega 0 t basically. So sin n omega 0 t or cos n omega 0 t is called the nth harmonic, of ft, and we are also telling it is an odd harmonic if n is odd, means n is 1 3 5, and an even harmonic. These terms are frequently used in engineering literature. Due to that reason, you have to basically understand the name of this term, n is even. And since sine and cosine terms are present in this particular series, so due to that reason, this series is also known as a trigonometric Fourier series. And in the next part of this course, I will tell you that what is alternate notion of Fourier series. But in today's lecture, I am going to just talk about the trigonometric Fourier series, where directly sine or cosine functions are involved. And after that, I have some more definition. We are talking about the Fourier constant, Fourier coefficients. So the constants an and bn are the Fourier coefficients. So several times during solving of numerical or during some application problem, people are interested in finding the Fourier coefficient. So meaning of this, that we are concerned with an and bn. So now let us come to the existence of the Fourier series. So in order to represent any periodic function in terms of this series, we have some sufficient condition. So we have to check that condition is satisfied or not. If that condition is satisfied, then it is possible to give guarantee that there always exists some kind of representation or some kind of trigonometric representation of periodic function. Due to that reason, this or these criteria are very, very important. And I have already told you that this is just a sufficient condition. So even if there exist certain cases where these conditions are not satisfied, even if in that case also we have certain kind of Fourier series representation, same kind of things we have observed in case of Laplace transform also. So let us try to talk about that sufficient condition. So I am going to discuss about the requirement. So I am going to write in form of the remarks. So a function that can be represented by a Fourier series must meet certain requirements, and this requirement is needed because the infinite series. So right hand side we have infinite series may or may not converge. So in the same way, whenever we are seeing the Laplace transform, at that time we are using some kind of improper integral to represent any function in terms of the Laplace transform. Here in place of integral I have infinite series in form of summation, at that time we are talking about the convergence of the integral. Here we are going to talk about the convergence of the series. So if somehow we are able to give guarantee that series is going to converge, then there always exists certain kind of equivalent representation of periodic function in terms of the infinite series or infinite trigonometric series. So note converge. So these conditions on Ft to yield a convergent Fourier series. So after defining the Fourier series, just now our problem is turned around on the convergence of this infinite series. So basically now I have to generate some kind of condition such that these infinite series is going to converge somewhere or become convergent. So first condition is Ft is single valued everywhere. So let us try to understand what is meaning of single valued. Suppose that you have some function, you can define some function like this. So this is called signum function. So suppose at 0 we have 0, and at when t that is positive, then I have plus 1. If t is negative, I have minus 1, and t equal to 0, I have 0. So this kind of function means everywhere I have just single value. So signum t, if you define signum t like this, I have defined like for t greater than equal to 0, I have plus 1, t less than 0, I have minus 1, and t equal to 0, I have 0. So this is one of the definition. If you check the literature, parallelly there exists another definition that I have for plus t I have plus 1, for minus t I have minus 1, but at t equal to 0 I have some value, any value between these, minus 1 to 1. So definition is like this. So this representation is called multi-valued function, because I have some quantity between minus 1 to 1 at t equal to 0, and minus 1 at t less. So this is for t greater than 0, and I have t greater than 0, I have t less than 0. So I am going to take those kind of function which will satisfy the property of single valued, means like this, not like this. That is the meaning of the first condition. Similarly, I can generate several function which is not a single valued. And second condition is Ft has a finite number of finite discontinuities in any one period, because ft is periodic function, so finite number of discontinuity is allowed during the expression of any function ft as a sum of trigonometrical function. Third condition is ft has a finite number of maxima and minima in any one period. So these kind of conditions are required for the convergence of the infinite series, and final condition is like this: the integral, because you already understand that means integral is nothing but a continuous summation, so I can also check same kind of things by using integral in one period like this. Suppose that if you start from t0, and since function is periodic, so if I will see t0 plus t, then I am able to cover function within one period. And if this integral is less than infinity for any t0, means it means that I can start, or I start truncating any function from any point, and if I take the portion of function up to one period, and if that value is less than infinity, if this integral is finite, it is possible to show that I can represent this function in summation of the infinite many, integral means summation of infinite many area between t0 to t0 plus t, and if this value is finite, then that particular summation is also finite. So due to that reason, this condition comes into picture. And actually these four conditions are not introduced by Fourier. This is later introduced by another scientist, that is called Dirichlet, and due to that reason these conditions are called Dirichlet condition. Initially Fourier has given or proposed this means series, but he is unable to give the proof, and later this proof is given by another scientist, P.G.L. Dirichlet, and due to that reason this whatever proposal that is given by Fourier become applicable to almost all area of mathematics, because now we have mathematical guarantee that when this series is going to converge. So due to that reason, whenever we are talking Fourier series, at the same time we are also talking about these four conditions, and this is called the Dirichlet condition, and this is just for proving Dirichlet. These conditions are called, because we are writing the name, so I have to write in capital letter. So Dirichlet conditions. And I have already write that these conditions are just a sufficient condition. So let us write this. Otherwise, sometime you may confuse that even if these four conditions are not satisfied, but I can able to write some periodic function in terms of Fourier series. So remark is like this. These four conditions are not necessary they are just a sufficient condition for a Fourier series to exist. So slowly you have to understand that what is meaning of sufficient condition, what is meaning of necessary condition, what is meaning of necessary and sufficient condition. Because these kind of terminology is frequently appear in the literature of the control system or in literature of the mathematics. So please try to understand the meaning of necessary, sufficient, or necessary and sufficient condition in more careful way. Now, after expressing any periodic function in terms of the trigonometric Fourier series, one job is still not over, that is the calculation of the coefficient. And basically we have infinite many coefficient, that is called a0, a1, a2, b1, b2, bn, and so we have to somehow explore some of the way to calculate these value. So before going to do calculation of this value, we have to understand some kind of things that is basically obvious from the property of the definite integral. What we have learned, that suppose that I have certain kind of function like sine n omega 0 t, and if I will do integral means area within one time period, then that equal to 0, because area is somehow vector quantity. So I have positive area, negative area, so within one period that is going to do cancellation. So due to that reason, value of this integral equal to 0. Similar kind of things I can also talk for the cosine function, that equal to 0. These kind of things I am going to use in order to do calculation of the coefficient a0, an or bn, where n is equal to 1 to infinity. Similarly, I can also able to prove this sine n omega 0 t cos n omega 0 t into dt, that equal to 0. And after that I have sine n omega 0 t multiplied by sine n omega 0 t into dt from 0 to t. Because this is periodic function, so I have to just concern for the one time period, and if I have m not equal to n, then it is possible to show that this particular definite integral equal to 0. Similarly, one can also able to calculate or able to generalize same kind of result for the multiplication of two cosine function within one time period. This equal to 0 provided m is not exactly equal to n. And suppose that m equal to n, at that time I have this kind of property, sine square n omega 0 t into dt, that is t by 2. It is not difficult to prove this, because I will express sine square n omega 0 t in form of cosine, and after that I will use again the first property. Then we will get this value t by 2. So I am not going to do that kind of exercise because this is pretty much easy. Similarly, I have these two. So in order to find the coefficient of a0, an and bn, I am going to use these properties. So let us first talk about the calculation of a0. So let us talk the calculation of a0. So in order to calculate a0, I am going to take integral in one period, because ft is periodic function I am assuming. So this I can also write like this: a0 plus summation n equal to 1 to infinity an cos n omega 0 t plus bn sin n omega 0 t into dt. And from the above property, it is clear that these terms from here to here, after putting this integral, because here I have summation and integration, so I can either first do summation and after that I will do integral, or vice versa. The result remains the same. Due to that reason, I can also write like this: this is a0, and after that I have plus summation n equal to 1 to infinity, and after that integral 0 to t an cos n omega 0 t plus bn, and this is sin n omega 0 into t, and into dt like this. And we know that these terms equal to 0 in this period 0 to t, so summation is also 0. So finally I can able to generate this term, and from here I can calculate the value of a0. So a0 is nothing but 1 by t 0 to t ft into dt. So in this way I am able to calculate the first term of the trigonometric Fourier series. Now let us come to the second term. And one more important point here, you can see that before going to calculate an, that a0 is nothing but the average value of ft. We have already defined the meaning of average value in the whenever we are dealing the AC power. So the a0 is the average value of ft. Now I am going to calculate the second coefficient. So now I am going to talk about the calculation of the coefficient an, and in order to calculate an, I am going to multiply both sides by cos n m omega 0 t over 1 period, and after that I am going to do integral over 1 period. So basically what I mean to say that I have some function ft. So first I am going to multiply that function with cos m omega 0 t into dt from 0 to t. So similar kind of things I have to also perform on the right hand side of this series. So a0 plus summation n equal to, so this is nothing but n equal to 1 to infinity an cos n omega 0 t plus bn sin n omega 0 t, and after that I have to perform the multiplication with cos m0 omega t, and after that you can see that if I write this whole complicated term like this in order to apply the property of definite integral, then basically this calculation become more simple. So again I am swapping the infinite summation and integral. So an cos n omega 0 t, after that cos m omega 0 t into dt, and plus I have one more term, that is bn sin n omega 0 t plus cos m omega 0 t into dt. So from here you can easily observe that basically first term, that is nothing but 0 from the property of the definite integral. So this term equal to 0. Similarly here bn is some constant, so it is possible to take out this constant from this particular integral, and here I have multiplication of sine and cosine, so this equal to 0, and this particular integral you can see that 0 everywhere except when n is equal to m. So due to that reason I am able to write like this. This particular whole integral is now something like this. I have 0 to t, and after that I am opening n equal to 1 to infinity. So after opening this n equal to 1 to infinity, I have one condition, that is m equal to n. So basically I have to just consider an, and here I have cos square n omega 0 t dt. I am assuming m equal to n. Otherwise everywhere this integral that equal to 0. And if you calculate the value of this integral, we have already write the value of this particular definite integral, that is nothing but a0 t by 2. So from here an, basically not a0, that is an t by 2. So from here I can able to write the relation for constant coefficient an. So an is 2 by t 0 to t ft cos n omega 0 t into dt. From this calculation you are also able to guess that how to calculate the coefficient bn. So now I have to calculate the coefficient bn. So that is obvious from the above analysis that in order to calculate bn, now I have to multiply with sin n omega 0 t, and again with similar region I can directly write like this. So I am not going to again repeat same kind of logic. So if you have confusion, then please check the integral of this series by multiplying both sides by sin n omega 0 t, and after that apply the property of the definite integral. So in this way I am able to generate the value of a0, an and bn. So here you can see that I have in the trigonometric Fourier series, I have sine term, I have cosine term. So one can also represent same kind of things using the another form, that is called amplitude phase form. So basically I can also write like this: a0 plus a n equal to 1 to infinity, and this is an, and I am going to absorb everything in form of cosine function, where phi n is the phase and an is the amplitude. Due to that reason we are telling that the alternate form is name is given like amplitude phasor form of the Fourier series. Now let us try to calculate the value of an and phi n. So in order to do that I am going to apply this kind of identity. So I am going to apply the trigonometric identity, that is cos alpha into cos beta minus sin alpha into sin beta, and after that I am just going to break the right hand side of this. So from here I can also write this as a0 plus summation n equal to 1 to infinity an cos phi n and after that I have another term that is nothing but, so this term is an cos phi n multiplied by cos n omega 0 t and minus an sin phi n multiplied by sin n omega 0 t. So in this way I can able to write the right hand side of this representation, and after writing this you can see that a0 is exactly equal to the DC part. Now in AC part I can write like this. So this further implies, by comparing two different notion, I can get an is nothing but an cos phi n and bn is nothing but minus an sin phi n, and from here it is possible to show that an is nothing but an square plus bn square, and similarly phi n is nothing but minus tan inverse bn and an. So and in phasor form, if you want to write same kind of things in phasor form, because if you see this series, so this series contain a0 plus here I have this term an cos n omega 0 t plus phi n. In phasor form we are just writing amplitude plus and phase, so I can also write this whole series, and like in complex form I can also write like this a and an to phi n is nothing but an minus j bn, where j is a square root of minus 1. So in this way also I can represent, because somehow I have to represent everything in form of phasor for our next analysis, or whenever we are applying circuit analysis of any non-sinusoidal periodic signal to generate the complete response of the RLC network. At that time this form become very much important. Now I have certain kind of engineering definition which is very much useful in almost all area of engineering, particularly during the antenna design or communication. People are using these kind of terminology. So I am going to talk about the amplitude spectrum and phasor spectrum. So I am going to talk about amplitude and phase spectrum, and let us try to see the meaning. So meaning of these two terminology is like this: the plot of amplitude an of the harmonic versus n omega 0 is called the amplitude spectrum of ft, because somehow it is showing the amplitude of the each harmonics, and the plot of phase phi n versus n omega 0 is called the phase spectrum of ft. So in this way we are defining the phase spectrum as well as amplitude spectrum, and sometimes people are using another definition that is called frequency spectrum. So let us try to see the definition of frequency spectrum. So definition is like this: the frequency spectrum of a signal consists of the plots of the amplitude and so I have more than one amplitude and phases of the harmonics versus frequency. So at each frequency we are able to observe that where amplitude is maximum, where it is minimum, what is phase. So using this representation we are able to capture that kind of information, and this information is very, very much relevant for the several engineering application. So now this is the theoretical part of the trigonometric Fourier series. Now using one example I am going to show you that how to calculate the trigonometric Fourier series of some given function, and after that how to calculate the frequency spectrum. In order to minimize the time of lecture, actually this time I am going to do the some different way, and what I have done, I have already solved this numerical, and after that I am just going to explain you how to solve this, because unnecessary if I will write each and everything then it will take a lot of time, and I have observed that it will increase the length of lecture and sometimes lecture become more boring. So let us start with one example. So here in this example I have considered a square wave, and I have to represent this square wave in terms of Fourier series, and after that I have to obtain the amplitude and phase spectra of this particular square wave. So I have plot of a square wave is given. So once plot of a square wave is given, so first important thing is that we have to write the mathematical notion of this wave, and after that we have to guess the periodicity. So you can see here that I have to write this wave in terms of Fourier series. So any function ft, if that is periodic, then I am assuming that that can be expressed like this, and after that I have to calculate the coefficient a0, an and bn. So first I have to write the mathematical equation. So you can see that between 0 to 1, if you see just in this particular interval, means I am talking about this particular interval. So here you can see that 0 to t, if I have to write the equation, then one can see that this function is constant. So between 0 to t I have 1, and between 1 to 2 this is equal to 0, and similar kind of pattern exists in the left hand side as well as in right hand side. Due to that reason I have defined ft like this equal to 1 from 0 to 1, and parallelly equal to 0 at t when t lies between 1 to 2, and this is obviously a periodic function, and period, since this function will repeat same kind of pattern after every 2 seconds, so periodicity is 2, and angular frequency, fundamental angular frequency, I can calculate like this, that is 2 pi by t, so that is pi. Now in order to calculate the a0, I have to calculate the average value of ft over one period. So if you do that, then you are able to get 1 by 2. Similarly, in order to get an, we have already seen that I have to multiply that ft by cos n omega 0 t dt, and after that I have to calculate this kind of integral, and if you do that, then it is possible to show this particular value of an equal to 0, means in this particular series, if you interpret in terms of odd and even harmonic, then somehow all odd term, why I am telling means odd term, means I am interpreting in terms of AC and DC. So first term is DC, after that first one term, that is A0, A1 cos omega t, after that second term B1 cos sin omega t, and third term is A2 cos omega t. So all A, A1, A2, A3, An, that all equal to 0. So An equal to 0. Now similarly you can calculate the value of this integral Bn in order to generate the coefficient which is related to the sine of the function. So for that I am going to multiply with sin n omega 0 t, and after that I am going to calculate this particular integral, and it is possible to show that value of this calculation is nothing but 2 by n pi if n equal to odd, and if n equal to even, then again that equal to 0. So finally I am able to write the Fourier series that is like this. So again you can see here that This is DC term 1 by 2. After that, here only odd part means pi, 3 pi, and cosine, all cosine term are 0, but for sine only I have odd harmonic is going to present, because if you see the above integral, for n equal to odd I have 2 by n pi. When n is even, then this equal to 0. So due to that reason, only odd harmonic is going to present in this particular series. So same kind of things I have written here. Given that ft contains only the DC component, that is 1 by 2, and the sine term with the fundamental component and odd harmonics. Now let us express same kind of series like this. Here I have, if I will put n equal to k equal to here 1, 2 or up to infinity, then I can generate this kind of expression for ft. So that is written in compact form. Now let us try to see the evolution of a square wave from its Fourier coefficient. So first you can try to see the first coefficient. So first coefficient is DC1, so I can represent like this, and after that all other terms are terms of AC part, because that is sinusoids. And if you see the fundamental one, that is sine, so I have drawn here sine function. Now let us consider the sum of first two AC component. If you see two AC component, so I have first DC component, that is half, and after that I have AC component. If you add two AC component, then this kind of distortion comes into picture. After that, if you add 3, 1, then it is possible, and during the preparation you have already drawn a lot of graph that whenever two functions meet together, then how to plot this graph. So slowly, if you see this progress, then you can see that this kind of nature comes into picture. And if you analyze 11 term, and sometimes it is difficult to plot manually, so people are using computer, or you can easily use MATLAB to plot the term up to n11 considering DC and AC term, then you are able to get this kind of integral. So half part is coming from the AC term plus half one, and somehow you are able to visualize this kind of function. So basically this phenomena here I have exact periodic square wave, but whenever we are representing it using some kind of infinite number of series which contains the trigonometric function in terms of sine and cosine, then you can see that graph is basically oscillating if n is not very large. So what we have noticed here, that the partial sum oscillate above and below the actual value of ft. So actual value of ft between 0 to 1 is 1, but if I just consider n equal to 1, then we have observed certain kind of oscillation, and same kind of oscillation one can also observe during the period 1 to 2, and neighborhood of points of discontinuity, because t equal to 0, 1, 2, there is overshoot. So overshoot means here it is possible to show that here there is some kind of peak, here also there exists certain kind of peak. This kind of things, if you plot, then you are able to visualize. And damp oscillation, in fact an overshoot of about 9% of the peak value is always present, regardless of the number of terms used to approximate ft. And actually this 9% of the overshoot, which is always persist during the approximation, is known as Gibbs phenomena. So basically whatever infinite series representation is somehow approximate representation, and due to that reason whatever right hand term comes into picture after the finite number of permutation, there always exists certain kind of oscillation about the nominal value. And this particular deviation is calculated by this scientist Gibbs, and based on his name this phenomena is called Gibbs phenomena. So somehow this confirms that whatever representation, right hand representation, that is just an approximate representation. Now let us come to the calculation of frequency spectrum. So meaning of frequency spectrum is that we have to calculate the amplitude and phase spectra, and we have already seen the relation between an, means capital An and small an and bn. So I have this kind of term. So once I will calculate an and bn, I can generate an, and at the same time I can also able to generate phi n, and for different value of n omega 0 I am able to plot. And here you can see that I have very much interesting plot involved here. So if you see omega equal to 0, so that is DC1, that is 0.5, and after that at pi I have 2 by pi. So you can see that slowly this amplitude is going to decay. So this amplitude is going to decay very fast. Similarly, one can also see the phase spectrum, and same kind of things I have written here. Notice that the amplitude of the harmonic decay very fast with the frequency. So this kind of observation is basically appeared from the frequency spectrum, and phase is always minus 90 degree. So in this way we are able to calculate the Fourier series from the any periodic function. So now here I have done calculation for the square wave. Now you are able to do for triangular wave and any kind of periodic wave. And why we are doing this? Because once I will able to express any non-sinusoidal periodic signal into sinusoidal signal, then it is possible to use the concept of phasor analysis in order to generate the steady state response. That is our ultimate goal. So that kind of things I am going to explain in the next lecture. With this discussion I am going to close the today's lecture.